Hi, my name is Ekaterina, and now I will tell you about my learning curve in creating complex objects in Blender with AI. I will tell more about the problems I faced while researching different opportunities of using AI in Blender. However, as a disclaimer, I would like to mention that this is my personal journey and I'm not professional with Blender. I'm not a programmer. I'm just enthusiast in 3D modeling. I love design, and Blender was and is still my one and only tool I dove deep in. However, recently I started to use AI tools and I was curious about this type of integration. So let's begin with the objective of this tutorial. And my initial goal was to create a complex 3D a model inside Blender using AI, not just any object, but something visually unique, detailed and organic. A bioluminescent deep sea alien creature with a jellyfish-like body, glowing tendrils and multiple eyes. The focus was not only on the end result, but on the process of trying to integrate AI directly into Blender to see what's possible today, how easy or hard it is, and which tools are actually worth the effort. In theory, my dream was pretty simple. Open Blender, install a magical AI plugin, and just prompt something like create a glowing alien jellyfish, and boom, the model appears. In reality, it turned out to be much more complicated. Most tools were either broken, outdated, or nearly impossible to set up. The vision of AI-powered Blender modeling is still very much in development, and we had to pivot multiple times before finding anything that truly worked. So I tried several tools and started just with a typical prompt in ChatGPT. Please provide me with the tools in order to integrate AI into Blender. Or there were different requests I made, different prompts, whether it was provide me with AI tool or show me how can I create a 3D model in Blender with the help of AI, and so on and so forth. But the results were very diverse, and ChatGPT offered me the list of several tools first. One of the first ones it offered me was the Dream Textures. My first attempt was with Dream Textures, which looked promising on paper. It was supposed to generate textures from AI prompts directly inside Blender. But soon I ran into problems. There was no setup button, no model downloading process, and no way to get any output. I felt frustrated. After several failed attempts, I decided to drop it off and just checked out also out of curiosity what was there in the internet, and I found out that the most recent tutorial made for Dream Textures was made approximately 2 years ago, and the logical conclusion that it is an outdated tool. So thank you, but no thank you. Next, I tried Blender GPT, an add-on by Raven Dev, which claimed to allow direct natural language modeling inside Blender. So ChatGPT actually provided the link to GitHub. Unfortunately, this tool also had major issues. The GPT tab remained empty after downloading the file, and even after correct installation. There was long communication with ChatGPT on possible improvements. However, there was no visible interface, no feedback, and the documentation didn't help much either. Again, after spending too much time troubleshooting, I had to let it go. Then, after asking ChatGPT about another option, it suggested to use ChatGPT and the ChatGPT Blender or add-on. It looked cool. Another link, another upload, and the idea was to communicate with ChatGPT directly inside Blender, but once again the links were outdated, the repository hadn't been updated in 2 years, and it simply didn't work with the latest Blender version. So unfortunately, this was another no-go. Then there were more trials, a numerous amount of trials of different prompts to ChatGPT, including direct file creation with the help of ChatGPT. So the result is on the next slide. I would say not that bad, something is created. However, the file creation was a little bit still disappointing in a way that it didn't correspond my target. So there was an idea still to set up an add-on, an integrated Blender, an integrated ChatGPT in Blender. So I asked ChatGPT to create a Python code for the add-on, that the add-on would work. Well, ChatGPT created a pretty good code, which I saved in a file and then uploaded into add-on. And then I just tried different prompts. Finally, I had this long-awaited tab working inside Blender. So here I tried different prompts in Finnish in this case. You can see my deep sea creature on one screenshot, and then also the text that I tried to create also through prompt. Unfortunately, when I tried to create a more complex object, the program didn't move forward. So that's why I had to try something else. Now finally some light at the end of the tunnel. We did manage to get some results, and at the same time I decided still to try another tool. I thought that might be Claude AI, might be smarter than ChatGPT, and I asked Claude, how can I use you in creating 3D models in Blender? And Claude offered 3 solutions: Python console scripting, building a custom add-on, or external script integration. So I decided this time to go with Python console. Claude didn't integrate inside Blender directly, but it provided real help with Python scripting. And in that sense, it generated a Blender Python script for a jellyfish-like object. I copied it into Blender scripting console, and it actually worked. Well, to be precise, it didn't work from the very beginning. I had to return maybe 3 times to Claude AI to ask to correct the code. So the problem was that the code was supposed to be located in the console only in parts. Again, I mentioned earlier I'm not a programmer. Maybe it was obvious, would be obvious for someone, but for me it was not that obvious. And I just copied the whole text, of course, that the AI tool provided me with. However, the end result was pretty good. You can see there are already eyes, and you can also work with this. It's another option. So we are already having 2 tools working. Despite of the recent success, there was still a lot of room for improvement. And I also had a feeling that I would expect AI to do a little bit more work. And that's how I asked also ChatGPT as well as Claude AI what are other options, and both of the tools suggested me to try out Meshy AI, which turned out to be a solid option. In this web-based tool, one can generate 3D models from text prompts or images. I described my alien creature and it gave me a model I could download and import into Blender. Well, there are certain pros. It gives really reliable output. It is really good with organic forms, and actually you can also use so-called fixed seed, which means that every time you're prompting the same text, you will get the same result. But there, of course, there is another side of a coin, and one of the main features, which is kind of not that attractive, that it's not inside the Blender. I mean, you just use the tool outside of the Blender and then upload the file. You can't fine-tune generation before export. Well, you actually can, but for that you need a premium account, and once again, free version is pretty limited. So it is still one of the best tools that I've tried, but it kept a practical balance. So let's see what I've got. First, I used text to 3D. I wrote the prompt and I got certain creatures. But it was pretty obvious for me that those creatures were not probably wouldn't be very easy to adjust or work with in Blender. That is why I added to my prompt a compatibility with Blender, and that's how I got the second option, where I actually found one of those creatures which looked pretty similar to what I was expecting. I confirmed my choice, and then I had an option to download. Actually, I found out that I can even do animation straight away within the tool. So while downloading, I need to choose what type of file I want to download, and then of course I chose Blender file, and that's how my alien creature appeared in my Blender. The previous creature was pretty good, however, it was not exactly what I had in my mind. And in my mind, I had one picture I asked AI to generate when I first came up with the idea of a deep sea creature. So I had this picture, and luckily in this tool in Mesh AI, you can actually upload the picture and get your creature in 3D format. The only problem is that I found out if you have a background on the picture, the quality of your creature in 3D format might not be that good. So I deleted the background and my creature appeared to look much better. I downloaded another creature and then I started to work in Blender. Since this creature was created out of image, the 3D model was not that defined, and I had to clean up a little bit different unnecessary details which ended up in my 3D model. I also did some cleaning in this text to 3D creature, however, there were much less unnecessary details in comparison to image to 3D. I combined both into one file, and I wish I had more time to create the background and maybe even animation. However, this is probably the next step to explore. For now, that was it. So, wrapping up, we can conclude on certain challenges that we faced during the AI exploration, AI for Blender. So many tools were not updated, or links were broken, and it is pretty obvious that AI tools not native to Blender yet. Most AI support its so to say code help, not direct modeling. So if we look at all tools together, what we've got based on Python code generated file, which we integrated into Blender as an add-on, worked. Claude AI with Python scripting directly in the Python console worked. Meshy AI proved being truly usable, however, is outside of the Blender. The others, Dream Textures and all other many links that ChatGPT provided us with, they were not functionable or outdated. So the main takeaway is there are tools that work, but they are not the ones most people expect. You still need to mix AI with your own Blender skills. So once again, I would like to highlight that this was a really insightful process. I learned a lot, and I learned that AI in Blender is still in its early stages, but it already offers huge potential when used creatively and with a bit of patience. For now, the best approach is a hybrid workflow. Use AI tools like Claude and Meshy to assist, then finalize the details in Blender manually. And I just hope that this journey can help others avoid dead ends and get inspired to explore the future of AI-assisted 3D design. For the further work, I recommend apply shaders, animate, add maybe eyes, but maybe this is a topic for another tutorial. Thank you so much.